Hello, this is Jilly Bling. I have a third project today using Earthen Textures bundle. So I'll show you the first two in just a minute, but this one I saw online, and artisan Vicki Boucher, just a minute. Yes, Vicki Boucher, she made this card and I loved it. The minute I saw it, I loved it. And in making it, I love it even more. So this is today's project. Thank you, Vicki, for sharing. And it just has a lot of blending brushes, 3 different colors that we'll be using. But other than that, it's not difficult at all. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful, kind of monochromatic. So we'll be using Earthen Textures bundle. Hope you know, and that's just for the word you, celebrate you, and that comes from this miss you. Sending dies is for this shape right here. Oh, it's a little wiggly. Textured floral is for these little pieces of greenery. Wanted to say is for the word celebrate. And if you get this stamp set, it doesn't really, or this die set, it doesn't really coordinate with the stamp set, but it's wonderful. The Feel Better Soon, You're Too Kind, there's Happy Birthday, and then Celebrate. And they're all where there's the shadow behind it. So if I were to cut out this Celebrate, it would just be like a background behind this delicate Celebrate. And obviously you could use it either way. Feel Better Soon, same thing. There's 2 dies for those words. And You're So Kind, same thing. And of course, Earthen Textures, Earthen Textures die, and that is for the rest of the dies. Okay, you ready to get started? And I'll put all the paper cut sizes on my blog. My blog is jillybling.com, and I'll put it a day after I post this project. I will spend the day over at the computer inputting stuff. But today is just to make the card, and we'll put a little spritz on it with a little bit of Wink Stella in it, and I'll show you all about that in a minute. Oh, so this is a series of 3, and if you buy the bundle through me before now and August 14th, I would love to send you the card kits. And I won't stamp any of the images, but all the die cuts, well, if you get the bundle, you'll have quite a few of them. But the die cuts that are not included in your bundle, I have those all ready for you. I'll have accessories like the ribbon, and if there's bling on it, that will all come with your card kits. So this is project number 3. This is number 2. Wait till you see this one. That's stunning. But look at that. Isn't that fun? This is project number 2. Everything will be cut and ready to roll. I'll give you 6 pieces of the foil paper so you could cut out these, because this die comes in the Earthen Textures bundle. And if there's a stamp that I'm using, like this one, I'll just have the die cuts ready to go, and you could put whatever stamp you have at home on there. Because unfortunately, I am not to send out pre-stamped anything, which I understand. Then there's this one, the black and white. This was the first one. And there are videos on all 3 of these. Well, today's video, then plus these 2. Yeah, I think I was in a foil mood, but I love them. Okay, back to where we were. So this paper, let's just start from the bottom and work our way up. Oh, you know what? It's probably best to do the sponging on this background and then also on this background, so I could do the spritz and give it a chance to dry. So let's work on that. Boy, there's not many papers on here. Okay, so there's 3 colors for using blending brushes. Night of Navy is the darkest, Misty Moonlight is the medium, and Boho Blue is the light. So I'm going to start with the darkest. And if you have your stamp pad and your blending brush and you're just not getting heavy enough ink, just re-ink it. And then I had to re-ink this little thing a few times. And when you touch down, usually you make like a heavy mark, which I'm going to do here in a minute. Don't worry about that, because we're going to get it so dark. See how dark that is? So if there's like a heavy touchdown area, and we kind of want it a little bit different in color too, not all the same. So don't worry about having a heavy touchdown area. Here we go. And then as there's less ink on your blending brush, kind of drift up into the next area. Like up there, then come back down here. So that heavy touchdown area that I was talking about right here, and see how there's a swoosh? Don't worry about that. We're going to cover it up by adding more and more ink. I want this to be dark because that's what makes the white and the lighter colors show up so well. It's when this is dark. And I definitely want the whole bottom portion to be a Night of Navy dark, and then maybe a little bit of the dark coming up through here. And see how this is really light? I could just leave it like that. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. I'm going to try to get a little bit more navy up through here. Blending brushes. I just ran out. And I know you don't have to dedicate one brush per color. I know that. I still do. Okay, that's looking good. And I'm fine with there being some areas that are heavier than others. When we do the spritz, it's going to change everything. And it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. Okay, so that's for the outside. Then for the inside, same process, but maybe a little bit lighter. Wow, that's really some streaks. Not sure I like that, but... And less ink that's on the brush, the softer the look. Okay, I want it heavier down here. But see, if you were going to write on this, I still want you to be able to see through it. But I want it to be navy, because the next color is Misty Moonlight. And I want them to be like just a little bit different in color. Okay, so for now, Night of Navy is done. Misty Moonlight. I love this color. Okay, I love all blues. Isn't it funny how you channel it? Wearing blue today. Misty Moonlight. I'm going to start with this one. So I'm going to start midpoint and creep up just a little bit. Okay, those are different colors. And then I'm allowing this to be white for now. So when I go in with the boho, which is even a lighter color, I want that to be seen. So for the inside, let me see how much I have on here now. That might be enough. Okay, and boho. Boho blue. That's an in color. I'll be sad when it goes away. I have to use it lots. Boho. And I would be using my regular pads, but they're busy. So, right up here, I'm going to start down here. I know that this is lighter than this, so if I have a touchdown right here, it should be fine. And any colors you have, as you can see, I'm using my spots. I was thinking, what if I did this kind of in purples or in greens? I think any color you love would be pretty because it's monochromatic. Okay, and a little bit of inside boho. Okay, I'm worried about touchdown here. So that's light enough that if you were to stamp a sentiment, you still could write in here. And we will be adding just a little bit more color after the spritz dries. Let's do spritz. Spritz. So spritz, did you know Stampin' Up! Sells spritzers? Did you know you fill these up with water or alcohol? And also, these I have them ready to roll. You can open it up, fill it up with water, and then take your Wink of Stella, give it a squeeze. I put 2 drips from my Wink of Stella into here. So now this is shimmery water, which is a lot of fun. So to do that, oh, and one of these spritzers, I should test it. One of them, I think it's this one. It does a very direct spritz. This one does more of an overall softer everywhere spritz. Okay, you ready for spritzing? First of all, check where the tip is. Not that many times I've squirted myself. Yeah, and I've had glitter over me for the day. So, from up high, the higher you are, the softer the spritz will be. And the paper will curl. That's just natural. Okay, just let it do its thing. So when it's wet, it'll curl. When it's dry, it will go back to being almost flat. And I didn't spritz it super heavy that I'm worried about the water dripping. It's just absorbing into there and evaporating. Oh, it might be dripping a little bit over here. Okay, well then stay flat. Stay flat then. I don't want to mess up any of my splatters though. And Vicki showed this on her blog. She does this a lot. And I definitely see why. I'm really liking it. Okay. And that has a little bit of a shimmer in it from the Wink of Stella. Fun stuff. Okay, so this one's curling up. There, stay put. I don't want to mess up the little water spots it's creating though. This one looks dry. Or dry enough that it's not going to drip. And it's curly. That's fine. Okay, so set this somewhere, let it dry. We'll come back to this. But isn't that a cool effect? I was thinking, what designer paper did she use? No, she spritzed it. Okay, this one I see maybe a little bit. And I think she used a heat tool to set it so she didn't have to wait. Misty Boho, oop, navy. There, that's a heat tool, right? I think it's flat enough where it won't drip. Okay, what else do we have? So, die cuts. Let's do some die cuts. So this is just a 1/4 sheet of paper. Actually, it's just a little bit smaller. 5 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to cut out all these pieces in white. The Celebrate in white. This is going to be in Misty Moonlight, and the words are going to be in Misty Moonlight. So, but you know what? I have to stamp the words first. So that's not super tricky, kind of easy. So Versamark. Stamp it right here. And put it into white embossing powder. Dump the excess back in. You're like, what about that miss? Don't you want to miss the miss? I do. So, because the die is small enough, I don't think it would cut out if I emboss the whole thing, but just to make sure. Okay. Okay, back to where we were. You, because we're having celebrate. We can't say celebrate, miss you. And then this will go right here. And there's a reason that I'm leaving this open, because that's for this little bit of misty moonlight. I kind of wanted to kind of rough up the edge just a little bit. It's tore. And I'll show you about tearing in just a minute. But you know, just give it a little more texture. And then the same with the white. See how I'm preserving the edge of the white? That's for this piece right down here. Okay, so let's get these all cut. Okay, so to do the tearing, I'm going to get rid of this extra bit. And to do the tearing, because this can flip either way, it doesn't matter. When you tear, see how I'm pulling this toward me? If you pull it toward you, you could see the core of the paper, which is a great effect. But if you're like, I think I want it a little bit more refined, then you just flip the paper over. So see here how you could see the torn edge? But if you flip it over, that's quite a bit smoother, but it still has that random edge. And then the same with this one. This time today I'm going to use the, so you could see the core of the paper. And I'm purposely trying to make this like kind of up and down, so it's got like different little bits to it. Okay, and all this is going to go off. And I'll be trimming both of these to make them a little smaller in just a minute. And it doesn't have to be precise because the ribbon will cover it. Okay, so I have two edges, tore side up, tore side up. Okay, let's get to building this card, and we'll work on this in just a minute. Okay, let's see how our papers are doing. Isn't that cool? Can you see a little bit of shimmer right there? And then also see what the spritzing did, how it made kind of water droplets. Ooh, this one is real curly. But this one has great water drops. And when I use my adhesive, that will help take the curl out of the paper. So before I stick this down, I'm going to wrap the ribbon around it. I want it to dry just a little bit more. Same with this one. So let's work on, see all of the die cut pieces we just did, how they have a hint of color on them? This fan shape has quite a bit of color on it. That was a mistake. Vicki has hers quite a bit softer, but I kind of like that. And then also there's some stamping back behind here. That's done in navy, and this one is done in navy. So it's just two bits that are stamped. So we have a few things we could do. How about if we start with the sponging? So the sponging, or the daubering, no, the blending brush, all these tools. I will be putting a little bit of color on here. And I started doing it on my scratch paper, and it came out so pretty. I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a little bit on here just to create a little more interest on the sample. You can hardly tell. I wish I concentrated on it a bit more, but let's do that now. So I'll do the blending brush on the inside paper. inside paper. Okay, so that navy though, that was really dark. So maybe I'll do some of the navy here, and then I'll finish up with the softer bits of navy in just a minute. But I want this one to be dark as it is with the sample. See how dark that is there? That was a mistake, but I really like it. Okay, that one's really dark. To add a little bit more color at this point, I'll put it on here. So you can see just a shadow of it on there. And since the navy is doing so good, I'll add on a little bit of color on here. This is kind of a delicate little dye. Okay, and this one, maybe you could go up here a little bit. See how it's lighter up here? Maybe it will show up a little bit more. Okay, let's see how this one shows up. Ooh, that one did good. And Celebrate gets a little bit of blending brush too. Maybe just a little. And this is really delicate. So it's more just like a push and a little bit of a circle motion. Just so it's not stark white. Does it still stand up on here? Yeah. Am I done? Yeah. Well, that was kind of fun. Okay. How about loosely on the front of the card, loosely laying out the pieces so I know where to stamp. Okay, so there's this, and this, which need a little bit of attention. And you know what? I cut my paper too short. If ever you do that, I have a tip, especially when you're doing collage and vintage type stuff. I should use a paper cutter. It won't really be seen, but you know. Okay, so these are just estimates. Even how big to make this, should be bigger or smaller. So these are just estimates. It's going to go into navy, and what I'm going to do now is stamp 2 stamps. This branch and then this fur branch in navy. And that's going to go right about here. Okay. And then the other, this one, is going to go up through here. Okay. Now we can assemble the top. So it's time to figure this out. If I have 2 bits of ribbon, so I have two different types here. I have bordered ribbon. This is in Night of Navy. It's a good thing when you use lots of blue. You could use just about any blue ribbons that you have. There's this one that has this pattern on it. It's right here. Isn't that pretty? But I think that this white would be too strong because it's a bit monochromatic. I think it would take away from the rest of the project. So we'll just stick with this one. So 2 pieces. with enough to wrap around. And then this, which is in color Starry Sky, Starry Sky metallic woven ribbon. Just add a little bit of sparkle. Okay, so those are going to wrap around. So with that, I think I need to decide how big, how wide to make this. So I'll put adhesive on here. And I'm just guessing about, I want just a little bit of white. See that white is showing through. Oop, tear side up. Okay, and you know how I said I cut my paper too small? I probably should just cut another one. But if ever you do that, because it's vintage, let's just make like an extra tear, and then kind of vintage it, go in that direction. There, it's vintagey. It's collage style. Okay, so this goes here, and the ribbon's going to be covering a lot of that. Let's see about the sizing. Yeah, I think that's going to work fine. Okay, this one gets attached. Okay, right about there. And placement, I'm just looking at how much is down here. I like that amount. And looking at the card, it's about the same amount. But I like where all these little elements are falling toward the top of the card, so that's going to work fine. So at this point, that looks kind of boring, but we'll fancy it up with ribbon. So tear tape, tape and tear. I'm going to take a little bit, put it right here. Oop, that's too big. Okay, right here for now. Trim off the excess. Cut one too small, cut one too big. But I can fix it. Okay, so that's good. And now, just going to do one side at a time because it's sticky stuff. So this one I wanted to cover that little bit right there. Okay, and then this one goes right next to it. Okay, let's work on the other side. Uh-oh, Roomba's coming. Let's see where Roomba goes. If Roomba stays over there, Roomba could keep going. Noisy thing. If not, you know, just to make sure. I turned my phone off. Tear tape over the top, just because I don't want the ribbon letting go. Oh, I didn't do the metallic. Well, okay. Extra tear tape. Tear tape between all levels. Okay, hold on. Roomba app. And this could go right in the middle and over there. Oh, I didn't put any tape there. Still trying to turn off the vacuum. Okay. And this gets wrapped around right to the middle. And then more tear tape. I like it because it's so sticky and it's flat. Okay, at this point, we could stick this to the front of the card and use either liquid glue or your Stamp and Seal or tear tape because they're all really strong. I want to try to work the, from the spritz, it created a little bit of a curve to the paper and I want to help keep it flat. So use a good strong adhesive. And if you can, get close to the edge. Yeah, I missed it up there a little bit because that will help, because I don't know if you could tell that this paper is it's a little bit curvy. Front of the card almost done. Just had to decorate it, but isn't that fun with the spritz? I think I need to be doing that more often. Okay, pause. Okay, Roomba's back in check. And then this is going to go on with dimensionals. So when you put this on with dimensionals, because there's a little bit of movement with the ribbon, it might be a good thing to do glue dots. Just a few of them under the ribbon to kind of stabilize the ribbon. How about 2 of them? 1 under each of the big ribbon. Right there. Don't move. Okay. And the words can go on with my new best friend, Black Stampin' Dimensionals. I just ordered like 3 more packages. And what's interesting is they're $6, but you get more sheets, which is nice. But I'm like, why does it cost more? Just to make it black? But it's because you get more. More. And we all go through dimensionals. You. Okay, so this card now just says, you, just you. And that strong adhesive, Stamp and Seal, made the card front flat. Okay, let's build this beauty. This is going to go kind of tucked in here. I'm just going to lay everything out right now. I might need some more blending brush. That's good. I like how the white stands up against the darker background. It's kind of, it's variegated. It's ombre celebrate. Am I missing a piece? Oh, I know. This could go here. And this one could go there. I wonder how it would look. No, that overpowers this little fern. Yeah, that's better. Then there's this one. Cut out a misty moonlight right in the middle. Okay, do I have my words crooked? Oh, if I have them crooked, I stuck that thing down really good. Well, I'm going to pretend like it's straight because it's stuck down so good I can't fix it. Okay, so tucking this in, I know I won't need this big of a stem. Won't need this big of a stem. That one could stay. Okay, time to start sticking stuff down. And I'm just going to put glue on the middle and maybe a few of the lower branches partially, but not too much, because I want the the die cut pieces to kind of be 3D. Like, see how this is popped up and it's creating shadows? Okay, this one on the stem, I think this is like eucalyptus or something. I like eucalyptus. In our old house, it was kind of trendy for a while to make these eucalyptus bough things, and smelled good. I made so many of them. Me and my hot glue gun, we were making stuff. But it's not a trend anymore. But when Evan and Michaela got married, what did she want? She wanted not so much the flowers, maybe a few flowers, maybe a few light colored roses, like petal pink, kind of like a soft pink, peach, but she wanted eucalyptus. This one's a little taller. And you know what, at this point, if I were to pull this up from the glue, that would create kind of what our background created. It would kind of puddle up the ink, so I'm not going to pull it up. You know, looking at this, and I'm going to get these bits off of here, it's very monochromatic, yes, but I think that this fan, which is kind of like the focal point, I think it's a little bit too light, where if it was a little bit darker, the Celebrate would stand up more. So I'm going to add just a little bit more ink onto there. Just so that these tips, oh, I could do it on the inside. Where's that inside paper? So the tips are not quite so white. All whitey? Okay. Looks about the same right now, but maybe when I put the words on, it will make the words stand out just a little bit more. And you know, not putting bling on this, oh, it's hard. But I love the final product. Okay, and then to celebrate, I'm going to partially glue this down. Then I'll go back and finish gluing it. And if possible, when gluing this down, be really light on your glue, which I'm not being all that light. I should be. Just because this is so fragile, where I have the glue, I'm going to set it in place, and I'm not worried how curvy these get. And let that stick. I'm going to just let it dry, or at least start to dry. Then I'll come back, lift this up, put glue under it, lift this up and put glue under it. If I tried to do the whole thing, I would be a mess and it would be crooked. So we'll just let that sit there for a minute. So for the inside, we've already done some of the work on it. Let's put words in it and then a few stamps. And those will be done in Night of Navy. Night of Navy. Hello, friend. When I stamped it on the sample, I stamped it crooked. So if ever you're trying to figure things out, I'd suggest using your grid paper or your scratch paper and finding a line. I'm going to use this one right here. And I didn't put the words on it. Try to line it up with the line. That one came out pretty good. I'll do it at the bottom of the paper too. Well, that one came out pretty good. But if when you stamp it, if it keeps being crooked, even though you think you're stamping it straight, at least you have an idea how to correct the not so straight issue. Well, that one's good. Okay, and then the fern, or the wheat, this looks like wheat. One time, second generation, and then this branch, full strength, second and third. Okay, the wheat. Curvy paper. Then second generation. Okay. And now this one. Pretty, huh? Okay, I think it's just assembling and then sticking down the Celebrate on the front. Trying to get close to the edge to help hold this thing down. I love how sticky this is, usually, until I get it on my paper, and then I don't so much. Okay. So curvy, I can't even see the top corner. Usually I look top corner, bottom corner, because see how I could still shift it, but I can't see it. So, hope for the best. That'll do. Isn't that pretty? If you like blue as much as I like blue, pretty, pretty. Okay, let's stick down Celebrate. And the C drops down a little bit lower than the rest of the letters. That just gave me a flashback to remember when you had to write your letters and you had the 3 lines, the solid lines with the dash line in the middle, and you're trying to get them right on the line. Flashbacks. Isn't it funny how they come about random times? This one's under the line. You get in trouble for that. And then did you always do a little curl in the top of your R's, and there's a few other letters. How about your H? I don't know that kids even learn cursive writing anymore. For a while it was learning how to print, and then print kind of with tails so that things would connect together. Okay, the uppercase G. How do you do that? Like, do you know how to do it? Some of the younger generation are like, I don't even know what you're talking about. G. That one is and then the Q. The Q kind of looked like a letter too. G, I do it cheating, which isn't good. But G, is it like this? That's how it is. And then the Q is like, I don't know. Nobody does cursive anymore. I wonder if, like my son and daughter, if they could even read cursive, or if they think that we're writing in like Gothic type words. We're doing calligraphy. Yeah, my parents, they had to learn calligraphy, and that's how they all wrote. Well, they would be able to read this, Celebrate, right? I could read it. Mine would look just like that. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. Let me cover up my writing. So that's it for today's project. If you have any questions, let me know. And I'll put all the photos and the paper cut sizes on my blog, and my blog is jillybling.com. So I hope you have a great day. And if you haven't already, hit like and subscribe. I appreciate that. Okay, bye.